What's up guys, Frostech here with a quick look at the Razer DeathAdder Chroma. I picked this up tonight for 49 bucks and I decided I was going to test it out. I'm currently using the G502, the Logitech, for all my use and for Counter-Strike, but I wanted to test this out and see if there's any sort of difference that I noticed and if maybe I like the wider grip that's on the DeathAdder. A little bit of history of this mouse. Razer's been making this for as far as I remember, for gaming. They had the 2013 edition, which was supposedly one of the most touted and best from people that used it. This new one is an RGB edition, so they've got RGB lighting effects, so we can customize it. That's what everyone's doing now. But I decided I was going to do a quick look on it. I know there's a lot of reviews out there, but I figured my opinion and look at it might be helpful for some people that were thinking about buying it. So we'll go ahead and bust it open. The box packaging is pretty standard Razer, matte black. It's got some features on the back. So one 7-foot lightweight braided cable, that's definitely nice. Braided cable is a must. 5 programmable buttons, 3 Synapse, the Razer Synapse enabled mouse in general, so they have their Synapse software. Ergonomic shape, that's one of their big things. That's something that I'm kind of trying it out for, instead of the slimmer design of the G502. And then the customizable lighting, so that's pretty straightforward with it being an RGB chroma. So let's go ahead and pull it out. So right off the bat, it's pretty standard mouse packaging. Let's pull off the plastic cover, and there's the mouse. Go ahead and pull the cable through with it. Alright, and then let's take a quick look at what we got in the box. So Razer, no turning back. Essentially just a quick little message to people who are buying Razer products. They got stickers in there, that's kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of the logo though, so I won't be using those. And then they have a general little instruction guide, so it shows you where your serial number's at, how to register it, what the different buttons are, all that good stuff. Nothing here really to see, honestly. If you need to find anything specific out about it, use Google. So first thing we see is this braided cable. So we'll just turn this into a little bit of a G502 comparison, because these are two mouses that are usually pretty suggested for CSGO. So straight off the bat, we got both braided cables. So that this DeathAdder is going to have a thinner one actually, which is kind of nice because it's a little more pliable, so it's going to move around a little bit easier. This is a pretty new G502. And the cable, I mean, it's pretty tough to move. Like once you bend it, it's kind of keeps its shape. This is more loose, kind of reminds me more of like an auxiliary cable. We'll go ahead and untwine this. So it looks like you got a full 7 feet here. Looks like plenty of area. I really like how thin this cable is. So what that means is you're not going to get as much drag from the actual mouse cable itself needing to be moved around. Like this one, I get a little bit of resistance. DeathAdder's super light, crazy light compared to the G502, and this doesn't even have any weights in it right now. So that's one thing to note. So we're going to go ahead and just get this plugged in. Right off the bat, obviously a wider grip, a little bit different from this. You get a little bit more room to rest your outer fingers on this one, and then what's pretty nice is the front and back button are pretty big, so forward and backwards, that's nice. And then we got that hinge there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this plugged in, test it out. Alrighty. So, fires right up. So it automatically goes straight into RGB effect mode, so it's just breathing different colors. And it feels very smooth. Seems like the DPI is up pretty high straight off the bat. I actually have it on the screen here. I don't really know if that'll be beneficial to you guys or not. Over a little bit and see what we can get shot wise. So if you look in the screen up there, it's at a pretty high DPI right now. I'm barely moving it and it's flying across my 1440 screen. Initial feelings on this, so between the two, the DeathAdder definitely has a much smoother drive across the mouse surface. I'm going to attribute that to mostly the fact that it is a lighter mouse. The pads here, they're pretty nice. They're not as sizable as the G502. Whether or not that's because of weight or what, that is to be determined, but it has a much flatter bottom, so there's less areas where it would be prone to getting caught on a mouse pad. Obviously, the a little bit wider. It definitely has a lot less buttons. G502 has no light, RGB lighting effects. Not a big deal for me. It's really not a purchasing factor for me at all. I'm not a big guy on macros or anything, so I don't really use all these buttons on here. In fact, they can actually kind of get annoying because I don't really change my DPI on the fly or anything. So if I accidentally bump some of these buttons, which I've deprogrammed them at this point, but before, if you bump any of these buttons, it'll change my DPI, and it's kind of just a pain because then I gotta toggle back through the specific thing to get the correct DPI for me. One of the big things for me is I use my scroll wheel in Counter-Strike to change weapons. So this is a little bit different. It's not as clicky as this. This has very distinct steps on it when you're scrolling, versus this is kind of more of a standard scroll wheel feeling. I guess to put that into words, it's more smooth, less bump and less steppy. It's more of a just you're scrolling. The front and back buttons are nice. I mean, I guess one of the things to note between the two is, yeah, this is lighter, and that's probably by design, but the Death Adder does feel a little cheaper. The Logitech is very, very sturdy. I mean, you could throw this at someone and it really hurt them. This, you throw it at them, and I wouldn't be surprised if you might pop something off of it or something like that. Just the way it's constructed, it's feels a little bit. This I can squeeze as hard as I mean, not as hard as I can, but squeeze fairly hard. And this one you squeeze pretty hard and you hear some creaking, and it has a little more give to it. As I said, the cables, that's a pretty big distinguishing thing for me. I mean, they are both braided, but this is a lot lighter on the Death Adder, so moving around is a lot nicer. I think they're probably about the same length. Logitech might have a 6 foot. But overall, this is an interesting first look for me. I'm going to use this for a couple of days on CS and see if it changes any way that I play, or if I can notice a difference between the two mice. If you guys want any updates, just feel free to leave a comment. If you liked the video, make sure you leave a thumbs up for me. If you didn't like it, dislike it, you can rate it down and then leave a comment on why you didn't like it so I can work on these things in the future. Stay tuned on Frostech for more unboxings and general videos.